Ladies, gentlemen, folks beyond the binary, grab your husband, wife, partner, mistress, pick a fight with Ace Ventura's landlord, and gather around your radio. It's time for this week's meeting of the Erotic Thriller Club.
Not rude or crude, he's always tastefully nude. In this hardcore world, he's a softcore dude. His antithesis, mysterious and dangerous. And oh yes, they've got all the sexiest movies out on VHS. So if you're fatally attracted to the racier stuff, Erotic Film Club basically instinctively crave the salacious. Erotic Film Club. If you want a racy movie and you're too classy for smut, Erotic Film Club. We can watch them and discuss them all ad nauseam. Erotic Film Club.
Steve Guttenberg is a handsome man with a high position at whatever his job is. He has sex with his boss's wife because sex feels nice. Unfortunately, post-coitus, she witnesses a crime out of his bedroom window. They can't tell the cops or everyone will know of their sins. Can he continue having an affair while also being a hero? Find out if Guttenberg could have his cake and bang it too. This week on the Erotic Thriller Club, The Bedroom Window. Hey everybody, welcome to this week's meeting of the Erotic Thriller Club. As always, Garrett Callender and Get Ryan here.
And this is where we answer the genre's three most important questions. Was I aroused? Was I thrilled? And would I ruin my life for this person? Garrett, I did not know that was Ace Ventura's landlord. You really got me on that one.
Guttenberg in this movie beats up, off the top of my head, I don't know the actor's name. Also in Breaking Bad, he was the guy ringing the bell in the wheelchair.
Oh, yeah.
But he'll always be Ace Ventura's landlord to me.
In your heart of hearts.
We start with Guttenberg in a tux, walking home. How hot's Guttenberg to you? Did you have a crush on Guttenberg growing up? I think a lot of people our age did, because he was in some formative movies for us youngins.
I don't think I saw any of them. I have no Guttenberg related opinions.
Really? You didn't watch like the Olsen twins movie, It Takes Two?
If I did, I have no recollection of it.
Not the Disney Channel original movie, The Tower of Terror?
Nope. I've been on the ride, The Tower of Terror. It was pretty fun.
Well, so is
But I think
Guttenberg
he's
hot?
cute. Yeah, I
He's
think he's
cute.
cute. Yeah, I'd fuck him. For
He's a
sure.
handsome, fuzzy little guy.
We'll get into whether I would ruin my life for him in a minute, well, about an hour actually. But like, yeah, I'd fuck him for sure.
This is truly a movie of the Goot making poor choices.
Oh God,
Question,
so many bad
not even always
decisions.
poor, just questionable.
This is the kind of movie that my mom would get up and walk out of because she would not be able to handle all of the bad decisions he makes and all of the like the fact that he just keeps making it worse and is mistaken for the bad guy. She can't handle that. She won't do it.
Yeah, this movie's too much. It opens with Gutenberg going home, and
He's quickly trying to tidy up his apartment, so you can tell someone's about to get laid.
yeah, Isabelle Hubert comes to his apartment, and I love the way she speaks to him. I mean, this movie opens so hard 50s noir.
Yes.
Everybody's breathy. It is a tone of voice that yells consent.
Absolutely. It is breathy, it's mysterious. She's standing in the doorway. She's European, which is so exotic to a man like Steve Guttenberg.
I do have to ask, have you ever been that breathy with a lover?
Good question. I don't think so, but maybe I don't. Maybe I do it subconsciously and I don't even know it. Maybe I turn into a femme fatale in the bedroom.
It would have been intriguing to me if while you were with a lady that you got that breathy. Like, I don't know if two ladies can be that breathy at each other at the same time. maybe that's just not compatible.
No, actually, it uses up too much of the oxygen in the room, and they both will pass out. It's too dangerous.
Oh my god. Ugh. I was with a gal that breathy once.
Yeah? Yeah? How'd it
It
go?
felt it felt fake. It was nice, like, I absolutely had a nice time, like, it went nice places. Um,
Mhm.
I didn't get murdered in the end, so it did work out, like, but
Oh,
I
good.
think that if a gal is that breathy, you do have to proceed with caution.
Mm. I mean, maybe, or maybe it's gonna turn out to be Jennifer Tilly or something, and you're gonna have a great time.
I don't know, but once again, like, that's an erotic thriller, that's a noir
Mm.
where breathy
Yes.
gals lead to problems.
Very,
Like,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
are
she
there
did that.
other I don't know, are there other movies from the '50s where people speak that breathy and they just have nice sex and end happily ever after? And also, does the
Ah.
breathiness go on the whole relationship? If you start day 1 breathy,
Mhm.
by, like, 2 years in, are you gonna be like,
Can I just
"I fell in love with the breathy gal, I"
Yeah, well, I can't talk that way when I'm telling you that you need to buy us more milk on the way home from work today. Can you buy milk on the way home today?
"Yes, ma'am.
Meanwhile, we see that
Let me
Steve
change my
Gutenberg has.
pants."
Meanwhile, we see that Steve Gutenberg has a lovely little arrangement of chest hair.
Mhm. Yeah, he's a furry little guy, and his ap I like his apartment. I mean, it is a bachelor pad, but he's got this one beautiful triangle red shelf that's huge, that looks like a shape off the floor of an '80s arcade.
You know what? I hadn't had that thought, but now that you mention that, yes,
Like, like
absolutely.
old arcade carpet or like movie
Mhm.
theater carpet. It was very specific to 1987. It's
Yes.
nice to go to a movie of the year I was born.
Does that make you feel special somehow?
Kinda. I mean, yeah, this was an okay one.
I liked it. I mean, although the anxiety levels do get pretty high the further this goes on.
What do you think of basically their conversation? This is he's coming back from a party, his boss's wife follows him home, and essentially the conversation between the two of them as to why she is now at his apartment to have sex with him is, "Why are you here?" "Well, it seemed like you really wanted to fuck me." "Was it that obvious?" "Yes, and I guess I couldn't ignore it." I can't imagine a lady who's just like, "That guy looks like he wants it so bad."
That I just have to give it to him. I gotta do it.
It's charity.
At some point, you feel bad for the poor guy, and plus, the party was for him. He had done a big contract or whatever at his job, and so the boss is throwing a party for him, and then you take home the boss's wife. That is a bold move.
It's what we call a Christmas bonus.
Only this one has a French accent.
Did you get a vibe that they had ever met before? I mean, was this a
Yes.
long running this is just like
I got the
he's seen her from
feeling,
afar for so long and just been
yeah,
flirty for a long time?
they've seen each other at a bunch of these work events. The boss seems like the kind of guy that does this thing all the time. And yes, I think he was following her around like a dog with like his tongue hanging out of his mouth and his eyes going
Oh,
ahooga.
yeah, we get they get right into the sex scene so much so that we miss all of it.
We skip to the end and I'm grumpy about it.
I would have loved a thrust or two, just a
Mhm,
little,
just a
just a little.
little.
However, both leads give us nudity immediately.
That is true. We get boob and we get cheek.
We get a little peekaboo of a nipple,
Hmm.
and Gutenberg gets up to go to the bathroom. We see he has maybe the longest nudity shot in the whole movie, which
I
is a
think
walk
he
across
might.
a room to a bathroom. You get a whole like you get to really gaze and take in Guten cheeks.
And they're
It
nice. He's got a good butt.
and little dangle between. You see a little dangle.
I did not see a little dangle, but then again, I didn't freeze frame and like enhance, enhance, zoom in, enhance.
I did, and I could have seen it better, but I used and I wanna throw this out there to our listeners, did you watch it on, like, Tubi or Freevee or one of those?
Yeah.
So, I watched it on Canopy, which is a free app you can get through your library,
Mm.
and you get so many, I put in quote, "tickets" a month to, like, check out digitally. It's all free. It does, I found out, charge the state $1 per ticket. So the state of Tennessee paid $2 for me to watch this erotic thriller this week. And since we're cutting so much public schooling and banning so many
Mhm.
books, fuck you. You pay for my erotic thrillers. You do
Abs-
something for me.
absolutely. Money well spent, I say.
But Gutenberg has a big member. Like, I think we've even talked about it on this show before, right?
I don't know. I know we've talked about other actors with notoriously big Jansons, but I did not know that I can't remember if we have talked about him in particular.
I certainly have had to have told if I haven't told this story, I'll tell it again for any new listeners that didn't hear whatever episode that was on. I walked into a party at our friend's house in Los Angeles, our mutual friends, and everyone, when I open the door, is howling. Like everybody's losing their fucking mind. And all I hear yelled at me as I walk through the doors, "Goot swinging a hammer! Goot swinging a hammer!" And I'm like, "What does that mean?" Because I've just entered a room. And they are all watching the 90s children's movie, The Big Green. The movie where he's a soccer coach.
Okay.
And there's a scene where, like, a training scene, like a training montage, and all the kids are jogging, and Goot is jogging with them in
Oh no.
sweatpants. And, Kit, when they rewound the movie and pressed play, I found out quickly what "Goot swinging a hammer" means. And today, I posted a photo of this on our Instagram to tease what the next thing is
Mhm.
gonna be, and a friend of mine messaged me to let me know that one of his high school friends dated Guttenberg for years
Wow.
and can confirm.
Can
Giant hog.
confirm.
Goot swinging hammer.
A big hammer. Good for him. I hope it makes him happy.
So sorry to
Uh,
spend so much time on Goot's hammer, but,
are you sorry? I don't think you are. So point
it's
is,
really a Thor
blah blah
situation,
blah.
like, can you pick it up?
The answer is yes. I am worthy of Goot's hammer. So while he's in the bathroom, uh, his boss's wife goes to the
Bear.
window. Sees a or hears a scream and goes to the window. And she sees a woman who's been grabbed from behind, and the assailant is dragging her towards the street, and she is panicking, trying to open the window. She's completely nude. She's screaming for
Mhm.
Steve Guttenberg to get out here and help. And she finally manages to unlock the window and open it. And at that moment, the assailant looks up and makes eye contact with her up in the apartment, and he gets scared off and runs away. And then Steve Guttenberg comes out and he's like, "Hey, what I miss? Anything important?"
The villain really is the love child of, like, Conan O'Brien and a Chucky doll.
Yes, he is so pasty that and I didn't know that he glows in certain
Mhm.
lights. That is how pale he is. And then you get to see his ass later and it's even whiter and
You can actually see straight through it to where the
straight
penis is.
absolutely it is transparent. And I say this as a fairly pale Irish heritage person myself, but like good lord, get out in the sun, man.
Gutenberg is like, "Can you describe him?" Her first thing is like, and she says it filled with horror. "He was so white."
She basically saw a ghost, Garrett. Of course she's freaking out. She
Be
saw a
like,
ghost with red hair.
turns out he's like he can't remember later, so he's like, "I don't know, I think it might have been Larry Bird." I was just trying to think of the whitest. Though the scene where he is attacking this woman is so violent. The
Mhm.
what I assume was a stunt double, and I actually rewatched it to try and see if it was a man in a wig, and I hope to God it was. I don't think it was, but god damn, he slams that lady's head. She had spiked into the ground where it is a real like that person's face hits the ground.
Yeah, and they give her scratches on her face later in the movie, and I'm like, that is not enough for how much that woman was ripped. Her face would have to be ripped open because it's onto concrete.
Yeah, I bet if we talked to that stunt person, they'd be like, "Oh, I got a fucking concussion at work that day."
100%, I would believe it.
That was pretty nasty. Like that was to a point that even as somebody who watches a lot of really gross pro wrestling, I was like, "Oh, oh!"
Garrett, you've
I
gotten blood on you at those shows before.
Yeah, but I don't want to see anyone have head injuries.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Those lead to you murdering your family later.
You're not wrong.
It's great though that what stops this woman from being murdered is Isabelle Hubbert's boobs.
Yes, she is standing
Howdy
there,
Doody
and
stares a long time.
I have to say, I John and I, my partner and I, had something similar experience where we were watching TV and heard a scream coming from out of our window, and I turned around and looked through the window, and I saw a man standing over a woman who was laying on the ground, and I told John, and he ran outside with a baseball bat. I called 911. And we got the cops out there, and I just felt like I would not be standing there trying to open a window latch for like a full 2 minutes. Like if I couldn't open the window right away, I don't even think I would try to open the window right away. I would be pulling on a bed sheet to cover me and running out the door. Like I would want to physically intervene, not I just don't feel like, just
She
opening a
didn't do
window would
enough.
do it. Then again, everyone treats him like he is the when he later, lies and says that he saw, the crime happen so that, they won't be caught at cheating, everyone treats him like he is the goodest of good Samaritans, that he is a noble, a prince among men because he told the cops he saw a guy. That's it.
Can I rewrite your you and John witnessing the same thing story for the next time you tell it to somebody?
Okay, yeah, sure, sure, sure. What you got?
So it's gonna make you more of a hero.
Cool.
So what happens is you see what's happening.
Mhm.
You yell at John, "Quick, distract him." John flings open the window, is helicoptering his penis and screaming. So the guy is just like, "What the fuck?" And then you hit him from behind with a baseball bat.
Oh, I like that. Yeah,
You,
it's one of those things where you always think of it too late, what you should have done.
it's and see that's the problem with this too. Her tits were out. She is kind of like we find out she's not a great person as the movie goes
No,
on.
that is true. She feels bad about what she saw, but not so bad that she's willing to disrupt her life in any way whatsoever.
And when the guy runs away, neighbors come and gather her up and, take her to
Take her to
safety.
safety and call the
And
cops, presumably, and get her to a hospital.
it's just wild how quick that part of the night is done for Goot.
Yeah, they go back to just chilling. Later, he goes out to wave her off goodbye, walks her to her car, obviously, because there's an assaulter on the loose, and then he goes back and like nothing happened. It was a pretty good day all around.
So
Get party.
now that we've walked her to the car, I'm going to throw out a theory I have for this movie.
Oh God.
And I feel like you're going to disagree, but maybe I can convince you.
Okay, I'm ready.
So Goot walks Isabelle Hubert to her car.
Hmm.
He's like, "Do you regret anything?" And she's like, "Not a thing." And then she
Hmm.
starts to drive away. She's halfway down the block,
Mhm.
and Guttenberg throws his arms in the air and goes, "All right, woo!" and claps
Does he really? Oh my god.
because he just had sex.
Yeah, with his boss's wife.
But I'm going to say he had sex for the first time. I think he was a
This is not what I was expecting, Garrett.
this is the tale of a weird virgin, and that's why he makes so many weird
No!
virgin decisions. Because those are weird
No!
virgin decisions. Those are not
What?
what an expert coxman would do in times in
Garrett,
times of duress.
what are you talking
He
about?
makes so many stupid, uncool decisions,
And you
and I
decided that
think
this was his first
because he's so in love with her for no reason.
Oh.
Of course you're gonna love the first time you have sex with somebody, and of course she noticed he really wanted to have sex because 'cause he'd never had it before.
You're telling me that he has this nice job at a firm that
At
does
business.
things. He does a lot of important business, and he has this nice one bedroom apartment in Baltimore. Um and you
Yeah,
think that this man who
30
you
something.
know is, yes,
Yeah,
he's 30 something, he is swinging a big hammer, as you
yeah,
yourself know, and you're telling me that he has never once done the nasty.
not one time, no.
And that somehow, by some miracle, his first time is
Mhm.
with his boss's wife.
Who I will argue is a mentally ill person.
Okay, Garrett, she's French, there's a difference.
We don't get a lot of French listeners, so that's so I'll not edit that out. I don't know, she's weird. Like, I think as the movie goes on, it's like, "Oh, this lady has problems." Because it's not even like as we meet her husband, he's not even, like, the worst.
No, he is showing off a gun at the office, which I found to be pretty uncool. And
Opening scene, first time we see him, he's holding a gun and uses the word "pud," which that's 2 for 2 in the cool meter for me, and
mhm,
having only
mhm.
known him for 12 seconds.
When he finds out that Steve Guttenberg called the police to report that he had seen a crime the night of the party, he says, "I didn't know you had such a strong sense of civic duty." My goodness, what kind of morally reprehensible person are you that you're like, wow, look, look a good guy over here. Okay.
It was the '80s, different times.
Different times.
Who
You're
was
so right.
president at that time?
Yeah, so he sees in the newspaper that there was a killing later that night, like a half hour later, like half a block away, and they're pretty sure it was the same person. So they know that since the woman who was attacked from behind, likely the affair partner is the only person who saw the criminal, who can identify the assailant. And she is all torn up about it because she wants to do the right thing and help this person be
Mhm.
caught, but she doesn't want to come forward because maybe she could do it anonymously, but like, she doesn't know what to do. Steve has the bright idea of, I'll just call the police and tell them I saw it, and it'll be like you were never even here. And
Which honestly, on paper, there was a way to
it's
go about this version of the plan that is
yes.
perfectly acceptable.
Okay, tell me how you think this plan could have been done properly.
Well, one, they needed to have a longer discussion about things and think about, like, from a lawyer's perspective, like, oh, I couldn't have had my contacts in at this point when I looked out the window. And, they needed to have a longer conversation than 12 seconds in a bed drinking champagne after banging.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it being the kind of thing I would do, though, if I'm being honest with myself. I can be sort of impulsive in that way where, there's a problem. I see a solution. Let's just do the thing that will fix the thing. Let's do it already. Let's not fuss about it anymore. And so, yes, I could see myself getting into this predicament. Um,
Well, he's a sad virgin who can't even drive. And
he can drive. We see him
okay,
drive
fine, he can
multiple
drive.
times. And it's on his driver's license that they learn that he can't see without his glasses.
Fine, fine. I stand by though that this man in
The
coming into this scene where they're drinking champagne in bed just had sex for the second time in his life, probably even better than the first night.
Oh, I'm sure because the first time he was, all caught up in his head, with the being a new experience. The second time he can really take his time and enjoy it.
Because I bet
Wait,
there
what?
is an amount of pressure to having a hog that big and not being able to use it well. Like, there's a
Here,
lot more expectations with something that size.
in your fiction here, does
Mhm.
she know that he is a virgin before she comes to his house?
No, but
Does she ever find out that he was a virgin?
no, that's not he's not gonna tell her that, that's embarrassing.
Right. Got it. Okay. Interesting. All right. So his whole genius plan falls apart when the cops say, it's time for a lineup. Let's get a lineup." And
And we have to do say this about who he's in the lineup with. This is a big deal for me. When we see
mhm.
who the victim is, I squealed a little. I
Did you
didn't
say
realize she was
squealed
in
a
this movie.
little?
Elizabeth McGovern?
What do
Fucking
you
Lady
know?
Grantham from the Downton Abbey series and movies?
Oh, I never saw
Or
Downton
Cora
Abbey.
Crawley? Yeah, like she's in the whole she's the mom. She's the American mom
Oh.
married to the guy, to Hugh Bonneville. So she's like one of the main characters. And I'd never seen her this young, I don't think.
She's very cute, I must say. It's a little odd. I
Would
don't think
ruin
in
my
real
life.
life I don't think in real life the police would have brought both the only witness and the victim to the lineup at the same time. Seems like that could taint your results somehow, but whatever, it's a movie. And so he sees a guy and he sort of hones in that this one looks the closest to the description, but he can't bring himself to actually accuse anyone there of a crime. And I don't know why he doesn't say, this guy seems the closest, but I can't be sure. Instead, he just says, "Ah."
See, this is like he's already made weird decisions at this point because he
Wait,
already had the cops at his house and like said he doesn't smoke to the cops, but then is trying to hide cigarettes. Like, you don't have to hide, you don't have to explain to the cop that those are someone else. Just quit being
but no,
weird.
that would be evidence, though, that someone else was in the apartment last night.
They could have been there anytime. Cigarettes
That
can be
is,
around and not be smoked yesterday.
that's a good point. Unless it is still lit, there's no
With the
real
date written
evidence.
on the stub. Like it's
And her fingerprints all over it. Yeah, okay, so how is this a virgin mistake, Garrett, to not identify the suspect that you think is closest and then just say, "But I'm not 100% sure."
he's just like an uncool virgin, Kit. It's just an uncool thing that an uncool guy who identifies as cool.
I wanna
he
make it
he
very clear that I have nothing, unlike Garrett, against people who have not had sex, either by choice or accident or whatever. I think you're very cool. Live your life however you wanna live it. Don't let Garrett's judgmental ass, make you feel bad about yourself. Garrett. Garrett.
you can be a cool virgin, or you can be this fucking dork that wahooed in the middle of the street when he had sex.
You
He
know what? That's a good point.
wahooed after he knew the person he had sex with saw a woman not just like a little attacked, viciously beaten.
Yeah, it went on for so long. She really would be traumatized by having witnessed that much. But he makes it seem like the whole night was a success all around.
Woohoo! Yeah, clap. He clapped to himself. He clapped for his sexual encounter. That is virgin shit. And I will not continue to defend my that should be like right then I just presented as good of a case as oh my god, let me give me Sean Wallace
Mhm. Oh, okay. You
or
rest your
Wallace
case while
shit.
Sean. Yeah, you're saying that
Wallace Shawn, yeah, yeah.
you're as good of a defense attorney, but in this case, you're a prosecutor, and what you're accusing this man of is being a loser virgin.
I would
You
like to
rest your
present my
case.
case to the court.
Yeah, yeah.
He is a virgin who can't even drop. Who he was also in Clueless. So the movie I'm making fun
Oh,
of him with, he's in both of them. He knows
that's
a thing
kind
or
of
two about him.
perfect. So he's feeling a little bad that he wasn't able to positively identify anyone. So he decides he's going to be a stalker for a little while. Uh
What the fuck, Kit? What the fuck? What the fuck does this businessman, I'm putting in quotes, which I do know the name of the business. I
It
went
was
back and
some
rewatched
construction thing.
Wentworth Development Corporation.
Mm.
They couldn't have made him have a more vague job that he's important enough at that he doesn't have to be there ever so that he can go around playing fucking
Well, he
Batman.
did all of this after hours, Garrett. This is
No, he
all
didn't.
after
He
work.
is always walking around not working.
That's a good point, and his boss does seem to sort of notice at a certain point.
He goes to an aquarium midday one
That was probably on a
episode.
Saturday.
Or-
That was probably on a Saturday.
I don't think it was. And also, if he thinks the cops are trailing him at this point and he goes to an aquarium, what
Mhm.
a weird place to be.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I would
I'm just an
not.
adult man going to an aquarium alone in the middle of a Wednesday.
That is peak unemployment behavior, I have to say, where you are just out of things to do. I was gonna say because you have nowhere to be during the week, and the aquarium's free on Wednesdays.
Okay. Well, he's practicing for how he's about to lose his fucking job for
Because he's
banging his boss's wife and never working.
exactly. So he's decided his new hobby is to stalk a man from a police lineup. Which, by the way, they don't put other criminals for the most part. It's not like they just get a whole bunch of criminals and line them up. They have one criminal and then a bunch of people who look like that criminal, right?
Yeah, Kramer has that job in an episode of Seinfeld.
Right. So he could be stalking someone who is just an actor who was looking for a side, hustle to get a little extra money. When he could be stalking a regular ass person.
I do feel bad for the redhead community because this
Mm,
is the kind of representation that they
mm,
get. Like really like poorly represented people are redheads and albinos really always get
mm.
the short end of the stick in movies. And I'll say it though, he was a sketchy ginger.
And I think it helps the case that the sighting of him was very good because again he glowed, so he was very visible even though there were very few streetlights. So that helps the case that he was a credible witness.
He is just a bicycle reflector when he's on the street. Like the street lights are just everything radiates off of him.
So yes, he follows the redhead home, where he hears the guy getting chewed out by what I want to think is his mom. Right, redhead lives with his mom.
Redhead definitely lives with his mom. I You could argue elderly roommate, but it's for sure mom. Like he's got mommy issues.
Yeah, for sure. And so, oh,
He
hold
goes to the
on.
basement and shows his cheeks.
Yes, that is when we see the cheeks, and we see a good amount of his cheeks. We don't usually see the random stalker killer character get
Yeah, he had no reason to
cheeks.
show cheeks. I actually really appreciated this, and, he showed us tip. I paused, there was tip.
Wow. And
I saw a
honestly,
dangle, I saw a tip, I saw 4 cheeks,
that's
6 if you count Hugh
probably
Bears.
when you should have known that this man was a criminal because he lives on a garden apartment, right? That window is fully visible to the street. It is exactly human body sized, and he is perfectly framed within it, completely naked. He did not draw the curtains. There's already something a little sketch here.
Kit, the first time I went to San Francisco, my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, we drove to San Francisco. We were staying at a hostel. It was for anyone who's a Metallica fan, it was the hostel was the building that Metallica recorded Saint Anger in.
Oh,
And from the
I've
documentary.
seen the
Yeah.
documentary.
Yeah, it was there. When I was watching the documentary, I was like, "Get the fuck out." I slept there. Um, but as we pulled up, there was one of those style windows,
Mhm.
but it was only, like,
Chess?
pecs down.
Pecs down?
So, literally, the second we park, I just see a perfectly framed penis in a
Ah!
window, and, the window can hear is open, so and they're speaking German, but it was a realized, "Welcome to San Francisco. Here's a dick for you."
Wow. Yeah, they put in a new construction of a building somewhat near our place, so we see it when we walk the dog. And we were so confused when they put the windows in because they're at about the floor starts at about chest high, and it's floor
Okay,
to ceiling windows. So it is perfect upskirt height. Ideal upskirt height.
wild. Feel like
The
it's my new
people who
favorite
now
building
live
in town.
there always have their shades drawn.
Damn it!
I'm so sorry. All right, would you like to please describe for us the bar that our redheaded friend goes to, where he is followed by Steve Guttenberg?
You mean the hoot and hollerin' 20 to 30 somethings man bar?
Yeah, that is also nautical themed.
It's a little well, I mean, our criminal works as a boat welder. Like he's welding
Ah,
sea boat, like, big I don't I don't know,
so of
giant
course,
ships.
men that work with boats want to go to a boat themed bar at the end of the
Mhm.
day. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's why you and I go to podcaster bars after hours. Insufferable.
Oh God, yeah, we should really stop going.
Oh my god. But yeah, they go in and, like, the 2 most suspicious people in this room are really just Gutenberg and this redhead, but there is a lady, it is, like, most I would say 90% men, right? Are there
Yeah,
any women besides
There
this
are.
one
There are a
blonde?
couple other women, and they clearly were not directed, appropriately by the AD or whoever on what they should be doing, how they should be reacting to what they're seeing, because they seem perplexed as to, are they into this? Are they against it? Are they just supposed to, not notice it or be choosing to ignore. They have the female extras have no clue what they're supposed to be doing.
I don't know if the lady dancer knew what she was supposed to be. This lady,
No.
though, this blonde lady, she gets the bar going.
She starts dancing and she's into it. She goes for it.
There was no choreography. Somebody clearly said, "Just go, do what you feel."
That she may be the precursor to Ray Gun in many ways. She has a similar vibe, only more sexual.
Yeah, I mean, some of it was kinda hot. It's like a combination of a striptease and, like, a music video. I don't really know what's happening with her, but either way, she's wearing some nice, bracelets that we get an up close shot of, so we're definitely gonna need to remember those later,
Mhm.
unless it's like the boss's gun, which, never has a pay.
Absolutely not. And so, while Steve Guttenberg is watching all of this go down, and he's watching the redhead, watching the woman, a waitress bumps into him and spills his beer. So I even at that exact moment, I was like, Steve, you are setting yourself up to be framed for murder. You just
Do you
walked straight into this. You have gone to a place where you know a murder might happen, and then you've gone and made yourself recognizable to the staff in a way that this guy who's just quietly drinking his drink over in the corner would not. You are not doing yourself any favors here.
when the cops interview this waitress, I promise you this part of the conversation happened. Do you recognize this man? Oh yeah, I recognize that man. I asked him if he wanted anything to drink from the bar, and he responded with a very vague, "I'll have a beer," as if we don't have 13 beers on tap and several others in bottles. So when I came back by, I'm not going to lie to you, I was a little angry. I was not having a great night. I spilt beer all over.
Garrett, they order just beer at the bar so many times. In fact, at one point, someone asks for beer and a shot. A shot of what? I don't know. I don't care.
Liquid in a tiny glass, please.
Yes, I put it in a tiny, tiny glass. Yes.
No, you're right. Like people in movies always say beer. It's like the 555 phone number thing. Like you're not allowed
Mhm.
to, no one can have a beer preference, whatever you give me. But I bet
Which
if you
is
say that,
silly because at later his view is comically blocked by a giant Budweiser truck, and I'm like, well, if you're getting Budweiser money in here, you might as well have them order Bud at the bar because it was weirdly conspicuous in this movie in a way it normally doesn't stand out to me.
yeah. Well, Howdy Doody murders this lady, throws her in a
Yep,
dumpster.
yep. And
We know
he
because we
is
see the
at
bracelet.
he is at the crime scene talking to other people on the street and sees the dramatic of the shot of the hand with the bracelets coming out from under the sheet. And so I at this
There's
point
cops
once
there and he pulls up like he was got a call to get there. Like he
yes.
is such a police officer in this movie that it's fucking annoying.
So he now feels even more compelled that he has to go back and report this dude.
Mhm.
So he goes and admits that he's been a little bit stalkery, not totally stalkery, just a little bit stalkery. He says that he followed the guy because he wasn't sure, and then when he saw him at nighttime, he was more positive that this is definitely the guy he saw. He doesn't say, then I stalked him for like 3 more days and followed him to a bar where I saw him eyeing a woman who later got murdered. He probably should have said that
Mhm.
because otherwise it looks suspicious when they find out later.
Yeah, he just walks all over town getting people suspicious of him and has no fucking idea that he looks suspicious.
None
Like as a
whatsoever.
viewer, you are cringing like, "Sir, stop.
Stop. Stop. Stop.
Stop."
It's bad decision after bad decision. It really is. So because he only gives them this tiny little bit of information, they are able to say that we can make a case for the assault, but not for the murders. So Stevie, we need you to take the stand, which means he's gonna have to lie under oath. And this
He's
is
so
where
excited to do it though. He's like, "I'm gonna be a handsome hero."
yeah, he definitely has a bit of a hero complex, but also everyone else is hyping him up, so you can see where he got that idea from. Because everybody tells him he's magnificent.
Big Goot just had sex recently for the first time. Like he's feeling like a new man. This is
And now he's gonna put a criminal in jail.
which might lead to more sex.
And the boss's wife is all, you're just trying to play hero, this is a stupid idea, you shouldn't do it. Literally one scene later she's at his apartment saying, you are a hero, I love you so much, you definitely should do it, and I'm gonna be in the courtroom and I'll like signal you in case you're doing bad stuff, like you're getting it wrong.
him getting it wrong and being so obvious that he's looking directly at one person who that several people in the court turn to look at that is feeding him answers
Yeah, both the
is
the victim of the assault and the redhead note that he is taking cues from this woman.
the redhead has the funniest flashback as he's staring at her, trying to place her, and then it goes to a shot in his brain that is just her and her titties up in the window. And he's like, "Oh, definitely remember
Oh,
her.
right, there was a face attached to those tits. It was her.
It was that face! I'm gonna kill that bitch."
The really funny thought I kept having was that if this is a coincidence and this guy just happened to be at this bar and this redhead is guilty of nothing and he gets put away for years because Steve Guttenberg says, I saw him attack a woman and he didn't. Because when he brings boss's wife to go look at this dude, she says, I don't know if he's the one who did it. I'm not sure. So he's going off of a lot of vibes right now. And I did kind of have an imaginary version of this movie in my head where he realizes he has sent the wrong person to jail when the killer kills again after he has put this guy away. And it turns out he's just a regular sad ginger. And now you've done a horrible crime.
Turns out it really was an albino in a wig,
Yep.
just
But
to bother
instead,
them too.
Wallace Shawn is here to be the defense attorney we all dreamed of. He's a wily little character. Garrett, would you like to
A
describe?
Yeah, I mean, as we said earlier, I mean, he nails the case. Like, great fucking attorney. Like, thought of things
Oh
that
yeah,
somehow no one thought of, but like, he's really smarmy about it, and he deserves to be because he's smarter than everyone in the world he exists in.
that is completely true. And he really nails him on things like, so you're sure you were in bed? You didn't fall asleep in front of the TV? You were in bed. Okay. And then
He
he has
paints a
this
full, yeah.
full picture. And then he has the dramatic reveal of, okay, I'm going to go in the back of the room, which is about 20 yards away, which is about the same distance you were from the assailant. And we're going to turn the lights off because it was dark. And I'm going to hold up an object and you're going to tell me what it is. But you're going to have to take your contacts out. What? Holy crap. Nobody knew this could be a problem until just now.
And Gutenberg isn't fast enough to just say, like, oh, I didn't have my contacts in, but my glasses were on my nightstand and I grabbed them and put them on,
I
assuming
forgot
he
to
has
mention
some.
yeah, I forgot to mention it, when you were asking me all these questions,
And I
but
can't
yes.
do that right now because I don't have them with me because I'm wearing my contacts.
Yeah, and
Problem solved.
obviously, the man would own glasses. I've never met anyone who only owns contacts. You have to have glasses as well, especially as they pointed out back then when it was hard contacts that, once you took them out and you had to take them out because they were going to hurt otherwise, like, you're blind. So obviously the man must own glasses. Just say you grabbed your dang glass. No, instead he's up there humiliated as the entire courtroom very very rudely laughs at him as he fails to correctly identify that Wallace Shawn is holding up a red book.
Yeah, the
And
judge allowed a lot of making fun of the
yeah,
witness.
there was no order in the court. No, the judge absolutely is like, yeah, he's a bit of a doofus, and I think we should all laugh at him.
I love that they after they leave, like, wait, oh no, that's a- next. Yeah, he goes home and basically they've started a full fucking case on Goot because they're like, you know what, Goot seems fucking guilty,
Yeah, real
and
guilty, real shady. And he finds out that the neighbor said, I saw him come into the house at 3 in the morning from his woohoo. I saw that man woohoo because he had done a murder, probably.
They- this becomes another thing where he can't tell the truth because he doesn't want to let all these cool police officers know he was a virgin like 4 days ago. And Like, he'd rather deal with the murder trial than he would just tell everyone,
Admitting that he went out and woohooed in the street because he had sex.
like, he couldn't have just tell his neighbor that. That's amazing. Yeah, this guy was a virgin. But then from her, they move on to, like, he goes into work and his boss is like, "They're questioning me here too, like, what I know about you." And he's like,
Where
"Oh,
you were
it's
at the
nothing."
party, why you left, what kind of mood you were in. It all seems really suspect.
I love he meets her at the aquarium, which becomes, like, kind of a date, kind of a information sesh.
Yeah, because he realizes his phone's being tapped and he's being followed by the police. So he meets with uh his first love, according to Garrett, and they discuss what they should do. And she does not want to help. She is not about this at all.
She's done. She's
Mm-mm.
done, and, like, he calls her at her house after this, and she won't talk to him, so Guttenberg basically has to chase her and her husband to the opera, which he
It's a
just
ballet,
or the
please.
the ballet, I'm sorry, and he basically double parks in front of the opera house. It's not called a ballet house, it is an opera house, and he
Mhm.
goes in, no ticket,
Yeah, I
just
didn't know. No, I like to think he went in and he paid like $200 for a ticket because otherwise he was not getting in there. And they're like, "Sir, the show has already started," and he's like, "That's fine."
do you think so he does interrupt the ballet a little bit and gets Hubert's, attention, and the husband's like, "What the fuck?"
Why is
And
he
she get
here?
I bet the whole time she was gone, he did not enjoy the ballet. I think that did like, ruin his enjoyment.
Oh,
You
that's
can't
so sad.
why is my worker here to talk to my wife in the middle of an event? And I'm just sitting here watching this dancing, and I can't even concentrate.
Ruined. And a very expensive night out. Ruined. So she says that I told my husband about sleeping with you. Just once. I said that I slept with you once the night of the party, and he said he would forgive me only if I would never tell anyone I was anywhere other than at home in bed at that time because he doesn't want it to be a scandal, be in all the papers, and because obviously this would be news that, and then everyone would know that he's been cucked. And you don't want that. So now the only person who can verify his alibi
He went to the
will
ballet and
not.
left with a shirt that said, "I went to the ballet and all I got was this 'I got cucked' shirt."
So he leaves the ballet. He's dejected. He doesn't know what to do, and he sees outside
Another car is double parked.
another car is double parked, and this one is the killer.
I love that the killer double parked to run in and do a murder real quick.
Just real quick, how did was his plan to go find her in the middle of the aisles? Was he going to find her during
He
the
was
act
stalking
break?
Goot.
Yeah. So
He knew
he
Goot
realized.
was doing it. Yeah.
So he goes in and he sees the perfect opportunity to kill to kill the only witness, the only actual real witness to his crimes. And just so happens that, Steve is running back in to protect her from the killer, and she falls dramatically into his arms, covered in blood. Oh
Goot's covered
no,
in blood. And now
everyone's
Goot
covered in blood.
has to fight his way out of a goddamn ballet.
And this part is so I enjoyed this section unreservedly so
Oh my
much.
God.
He is pushing through people. People are screaming. At one point, he ends up on the stage,
Goot, you don't go on the stage.
covered in blood. He then goes through the curtains, so now there's all the ballet dancers and the crew members who are telling him, like, "What are you doing back? Oh my God, you're covered in blood." It is a comedy of errors as he tries to get out of here subtly and simply cannot.
And the only place he can go where there is still too I'll say I had a blast with this movie. My only issue is, like, once we hit this point, there's still like 40 fucking minutes of movie left. There's so
Yeah.
much movie. Like, this movie's almost 2 hours. And the last bit of the movie is just so fucking weird and outlandish and could have been a little shorter, but he has to go to the victim's house
because she is
because
the only person, because had previously confronted him saying, I saw you getting signals from a woman in the back of the courtroom, and I know that you weren't the real witness. And he's like, yeah, you're right, she's my boss's wife, I just feel so bad. And she's like, you must be either a romantic fool, or an idiot. And he's like, ah, yeah, yeah, or a virgin.
he whispers that under his breath. And she thought it was breathy and sexy, and that's why she's like, "Well, this is so he's basically sleeping nude on her couch." And she comes out and's like, "I haven't been able to have sex since the crime," which once again, murky timeline and all of these, probably a few weeks.
It takes
Um,
a while for a trial to get going. You never know how long that took,
you're right, this might be a 4-month break.
right?
So she comes out and she's like, "Do you wanna have sex?" And Gutenberg is like, "Absolutely, kiss my mouth." And she really would like to do it on the bed, but he's adamant about it being on the couch.
I wasn't sure what symbolically I was supposed to take from his refusal to go into the bedroom. Is it that he's now afraid of bedrooms and bedroom windows? He now has a phobia of having sex in those places.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. He's weird. He's got things, he's got kinks,
Yeah.
and
Okay, he was a virgin yesterday and now he's already got kinks. The man is moving too fast.
virgin has kinks. Like any virgin has like they've seen enough pornography at this point in their lives that I guess this is 80s, a little
Yeah,
harder to come
a
by.
little harder to come by. He's just
Uh,
looking at the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. That's all he's got.
we do see Mrs. Crawley's nude silhouette through a bath, through a shower curtain,
I was
which is nice.
disappointed we didn't get more, to be honest, because she's so lovely and cute. But it
It
was a nice little silhouette.
it left something to my imagination, and she's too classy of a lady. Mrs. Crawley does not show things like that, especially when we've seen 2 dude roots. We don't need Mrs. Crawley.
That's fair, I suppose.
But
So
they the end of
they
this is just
use batshit. So they're trying to suss out like sets him off, and they realize that it's he doesn't like seeing women getting sexual like attention from men. That's why he went after the woman who was
dancing
dancing,
lady at the bar,
and that she had kissed our first victim
a
had kissed
coworker,
about
yeah.
yeah, she kissed it sounded to me like he was a manager, to be honest. I got manager vibes from him. That she kissed him because it was his birthday and she was bringing him a cake, and the crowd went wild, so they kissed like a couple more times at the Nevermore bar. So
That seemed not her fault. I mean, no, none
no.
of them were no one's fault in any of the murders, really. This guy has a bad mom and has
Hmm.
red hair, and that's
Hmm.
enough.
That's enough.
Don't wanna
So
weld boats. Don't wanna
no.
weld boats.
So they come up with this great idea that the only way, obviously, the only way to clear Steve Gutenberg's name is to have an elaborate setup
Elaborate.
where extremely elaborate setup where she is acting as bait to lure uh the killer to try to come assault her, and then have the cops be there at the same time, because Gutenberg will call them and tell them to come, like, come arrest me, I am at this place. And that's their plan.
But how it falls where it's like, okay, you go in there and act so sexy that this guy either has to come or murder, and he's only gonna be
Hmm.
able to do
Hmm.
one.
Hmm.
I'm gonna be out here, and I'm gonna call the cops from this payphone when I
Hmm.
see you leave, because then he's gonna leave too. And
Hmm.
we just hope that he murders the same way he's been murdering, and you don't get murdered, and that the police are competent.
And that the police don't just arrest me instead. There are
She
so many
does have
ways
a
this
little
could go
mace.
wrong. She does have mace, and they get around the fact that he would recognize her by having her dress up in a wig. She dyes her eyebrows and she puts on a sexy outfit. And honestly, she says to him when he's like, "No, you can't be bait. That's a terrible idea." And she's like, "You just don't think I'm sexy enough to pull it off." And I was like, "Why would he think that? You already got targeted once before. Why would you? Is this coming from some deep insecurity within you, madam?" And then she is like, "I can get his attention because I'm a woman." And then this is clearly supposed to be her glow up. This is her she's all that moment where she comes out and she's got the wig instead of her short, sort of tomboyish cut hair. And she's wearing a bright pink dress. That, by the way, the dress goes up to her clavicle and down to mid thigh. This is not that
Oh, but when you
revealing
pop
of a
that top
dress.
and there's like a leather
She's got
crop top.
tights, she's got high heels, and to be honest, I don't know. I kind of liked her better before. What do you think?
Well, I think she was beautiful before. I think she had some either I couldn't even tell that she really had self-esteem issues or Gutenberg really didn't think she was that attractive.
Well, Gutenberg gives like a whoa,
He
like
gives
he's
an
clearly.
Auga look when she comes out. Yeah.
And honestly, this is really funny because this was like a personal, deep seated fear that I had and still somewhat have to this day of like I dress like a regular person most of the time. I'm not putting a lot of effort in. If I ever put in a lot of effort and I don't look good, that is devastating. Like the idea of that would be like, oh god, I I thought it was okay that men ignored me because I wasn't trying to get their attention. But if I tried and failed, that would be so hurtful. And to
So
see it work that way for her, where she gets glammed up, and I didn't think she looked better, was it made me a little. It's brought up some feelings in me that I was not expecting.
so when you get dressed, you look in the mirror first and think like, how killable am I?
I do every single time. How killable am I? Ooh, not that
Ooh, I'd slit
killable.
that throat.
Yeah, girl. So she's
When
all sexed up.
and if you thought the lady from the first dancing in a bar scene was awkward, this
Hmm.
lady truly has no idea how to act human. This really feels like
No.
some Madam Web shit. How in Madam Web, she can just never act like a Dakota Johnson just doesn't know how to be human in that
Hmm.
movie. Like she doesn't know what to do with her hands. And she has to go in there and just like it sucks that she has the self-esteem that she is not just a beautiful lady that can just stand there and be a beautiful lady. She
No,
has
instead
to be
she's
doing something awkward and weird.
yeah, and she's ordering a beer and a shot. She's playing pool with the guys and making really strained innuendos, I would say, trying
A
to
smooth stroke is more than just a key to the game.
yeah.
Like, why are you gonna tell that man like, that guy played Harvey Weinstein in Entourage. Why are you going to tell a Harvey Weinstein looking man, give him the hint that there might be a hand job in your future? That seems more dangerous. It seemed like he was gonna kill her.
Honestly, yes, there was a moment where he was threatening her when she wanted to leave the bar alone after he had bought her a drink because he felt he owned her now. And I was like, that is the exact vibe I got from that guy. Do not accept a free drink from that man.
The amount of catcalling she got in that bar
She
was
absolutely
dangerous.
outrageous. Also, especially because she walks in having not taken off the top layer, so she just walks in what looks like a businesswoman in the 80s ass dress. Like it
So
is
it's
not that slutty. Her
so it's just
hair
a
is
whole
not
bar.
teased to the gods. Her hair looks very professional in many ways. She's looks so normal.
So the catcalling is essentially like, yeah, she's got a lady head.
Yeah,
Look
she
at that
does.
woman face.
Yeah, yeah, and they're happy to see it.
But yeah, you don't walk around club rape promising hand jobs is all I'm saying. Like it's just the scariest place I've ever been and I was watching from my couch 40 years later.
I very recently actually was meeting a friend of mine, a former coworker who is a man, at a bar, and I texted to ask if he wanted me to buy him a drink, before he got there, so that he said, "Yeah, get me something, blah blah blah." Okay, I'll have one beer, please, on draft. So I go up to the bar and order his drink. I had already ordered mine, so I'm just up there buying a drink, and this crowd, this gaggle of drunk men in their 40s or 50s keep trying to buy me a drink. And I'm like, no, 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 it's fine. It's fine. No, you don't have to do that. No, thank you. That's very sweet, but no, thank you. And finally, this guy's just like, he talks to the bartender for me and says, this guy is paying for it. His buddy is paying for it. And I was like, okay, well, here I am. Uh, Hilariously, the timing worked out so perfectly that as soon as the drink was put into my hand by the bartender, my former coworker walked in. I turned and just put the drink in his hand. And so all of these guys are like, what? And I was like, I told you that you didn't have to buy me a drink.
I hate that situation.
They took it well. I'll give them that. They didn't like they seemed to realize that it was hilarious that they had accidentally bought a man a drink instead
No,
of
that's
getting mad about it. But
I
it
hate how
was
much you
fucking
had to
funny.
talk to people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also, like, how lucky are we that we were both wifed down or you're about to be wifed down and not have to be part of bar culture and trying to buy strangers beverages.
Right? I mean, it,
I'd be so bad at that. I don't want to buy strangers beverages. Leah, don't leave me.
all because of this. It's not because, of any of the many reasons you love your wife and your family that you have together. But no, don't make Garrett go buy women drinks at
Don't make me
bars.
buy the pretty lady vodka tonic.
Listen, if the guys had just taken no for an answer, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yes. No means buy my man friend a drink.
All right, so there is another comedy of errors to follow our previous one of him trying to get out of the ballet while covered in blood. We now have the comedy of errors of things going wrong at this bait setup that they've got, right? So at first his car won't start, and then uh, the Budweiser truck blocks his view, and then so he has to go inside, which is where he sees the guy looking at her wallet. So he's like, "Oh, he's got her dress from that. That's how he does this." And so then he's the next part of the plan is he has to call the police, but there's a guy in the phone booth.
And I'll tell you this, Ace Ventura's landlord doesn't wanna get off the phone,
He does not. And
and
he doesn't
all you
matter
could do is fight him.
it doesn't matter that he says it's an emergency. Instead, the guy closes the door on Steve Guttenberg's fingers, which I found pretty hilarious. And yes, instead of just going into the bar and asking if you can use their phone, the only solution is to physically fight this man.
Which he tries to fight, but then the landlord is just like, "Fuck you, buddy," and, like, the landlord's winning. Gutenberg is so rarely cool in this movie,
Hmm.
but that's
Is this another piece of evidence for you that he's a virgin? Is that he doesn't know how to fight a man outside a phone booth?
I think this just means that, instead of casting, like, a traditional '80s heartthrob, they cast the lead from Police Academy in an erotic thriller.
So obviously a cop comes to break up the fight, and the cop won't listen when Steve keeps trying to tell him that there's an emergency and then they need to call this detective or whatever. The cop doesn't care. He's dealing with two unruly folks outside of a payphone. He just wants to take them both in. And so obviously the only solution is to steal a cop car.
Had a real sassy conversation with the lady on the other end of the police horn.
It is so funny. He's like, "Hello? Can anybody hear me?" And the woman's like, "Get off the line. This is for the police." And he's like, "Bitch, I know it's a police line. I just stole a cop car." He literally calls her a bitch. It says he
And she
just stole
says,
a cop car.
"Well, then pull over the cop car you stole and use a payphone," or whatever she says.
Yeah, she's not having it, but he says, you gotta tell these particular cops that I'm going to drop off this stolen car at this location and they better get there soon. And then, of course, that means that they're late getting there, and she's tussling with the killer in the stairway. I appreciated the very realistic way in which the her tights got ripped and her knees got scuffed because of it. Like, I thought that normally they do not think about things like that in movies, but this time they did.
Yeah, the violence to this lady, they never let up on it. She took that head
No.
spike earlier, and
Hmm.
it's,
Now she's getting
yeah,
choked. She's trying to
it's
mace him.
the mace scene was amazing because she at first it seemed like she did mace him, and I'm like, "Oh, he doesn't mace doesn't affect gingers," is like what this
Ah,
movie has
yes.
taught me, but I guess she just didn't push it hard enough. Because when that guy finally gets sprayed in the eyes,
And
he
he
let
gets a lot of mace to the face.
I
And it
love a
is
man
an
scream.
inch away from his eyeballs. So you know it
It
got him
is
good.
it is like a top tier man scream. I really loved it.
For a second I thought she had gotten Steve Guttenberg too, because he joins the tussle and they're all tussling. But no, she does manage to get just the ginger. The ginger's gutting out and leaving. Oh no, more comedy of errors. We we have to get him not to leave because otherwise the cops are going to show up and you're just going to see this woman all beat up and only Steve Guttenberg is there. So
I
he
really thought Gutenberg was gonna die. I did not see a scenario where Gutenberg didn't get shot by the police because it seems like he's the one to shoot for many
Yes.
reasons
Yeah,
that have
he's
spanned the whole movie.
hanging out of the truck door fighting the ginger in the cab of the truck. Like, they are, it is so insane, and he's like half hanging out, and the woman has to scream like, "Don't shoot, don't shoot him, he's not the bad guy." Finally, they crash the car. Steve goes flying. He's gonna be feeling that one for weeks to come. And I guess it all gets settled.
It all gets settled other than, like, we see the ginger go into an ambulance and the cop comes over and is like, "Well, for all the lying on the stand and shit, 10 to 12 years in jail." And Coot's like, "What?" And he's like, just kidding,
Just kidding,
credits.
just kidding. I love that he also says, "We'd have gotten him anyway, you know."
We're
Like,
great police.
we're good police officers. You didn't need to do this stupid, elaborate ruse of using this poor woman as bait.
I would say in this movie, the 2 main cops, like, other than not checking the eyesight thing that, like, really
Mm.
fucked the case and interviewing this guy
That was
in
on the
depth and
lawyer.
prepping and
The
all of
lawyer
that.
should have done that. That is 100% on the state's attorney for not looking into that. It is not the cop's job to find out if this guy's a credible witness or not. That's for the state's attorney to deal with prepping him for being on the stand.
Well, then in that case, I would say these are 2 of the most competent police officers we've seen in any of the movies we've watched so far, other
Absolutely.
than I think it was questionable that when they first came to his house that the one cop lit up a cigarette in his home.
That is a little unprofessional. But it was 1987, so who knows? It's a different time.
Either way, in total, like, as a whole, a little too long, but an enjoyable movie. More in the more a noir than an erotic thriller, but it all involves love. Or
Yes.
whatever the fuck he thinks he's doing with this woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just can't have his cake and bang it too, and I guess he kinda did.
Kind of did. At one point, he says
He's gonna lose his job.
that I was just something for her to do. To which our other woman says, "There are worse things I can think of to do," which is a cute line. It was cute. Um, But yeah, I want more of your theory about how this woman is not right in the head. What go into this boss's wife theory that you had.
Well, she really doesn't care about anybody but herself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she never cared about Goot. I don't understand really why she was there other than, like,
To
she
take
didn't
his
even really
virginity.
seem unhappy in the marriage. Like, the marriage, I didn't
Yeah.
see anything like, I don't know, she just kinda seemed like a sociopath.
Yeah. I mean, it is her idea that, like, she shows some concern. Like, oh no, we should have called. We should do something. I don't want to, but we should. Like, and I kind of, but then again, that could be self centered because she's like, otherwise, there's a murderer right outside the building I'm in, and I don't want to die. So even that could be taken as selfish and self interested.
She had such a hard fall off as a likable character.
Yes.
It pretty much immediately went downhill after our first meeting. The woohoo was the end of Nice
Yes.
Times.
She even admits that she recognized the dude immediately as the killer, but she didn't want to make a thing out of this. So she wouldn't let it go any further. That's such a heavy sigh, Garrett.
Yeah, I don't know. This was thanks, Curtis Hanson.
I have to say there were some fun like visual motifs in it. You know, the fact that like the end of the act, the curtain coming down as the killer has staged this scene,
Yeah.
right? Like there's some clever little moments like that where you can tell that, you know, some love was put into the project for sure. Some thought was put into it.
Well, also Curtis Hanson that wrote and directed the movie is a good filmmaker. I mean, the couple that come to mind are well, for sure, L.A. Confidential, like
Mhm.
great movie. River Wild, I remember really enjoying, and 8 Mile.
Oh yeah, forgot about that he had done
He
8
also
Mile.
did Hand That Rocks the Cradle that
Oh.
we'll have to do eventually as
Huh.
well.
All right, so Garrett, I think it's time. Were you aroused, Garrett? Scale of 1 to 5.
I'll be honest, when I got the silhouette of Mrs. Crowley, I blushed.
Of
I
course you
blushed
did.
and said, "Oh, Mrs. Crowley." So, Elizabeth Hubert was never afraid to show me anything. Very French of her. I think overall though, like no sex. It was just the human body on
Yeah,
display
they just
occasionally.
kept cutting to after the sex, and
So as far as
mm,
erotic, very low. Very low.
mm,
Nudity, you get things like you see
there is some nudity.
dude butt adds points, dude
Mhm,
root
mhm,
adds points, and we got essentially 2 of each.
mhm.
So I'll give it a 2. I'll
I'll
give it a
give it
2.
a 1.5, I think, because I didn't see Downton Abbey, so I wasn't as excited
Okay, that's fair.
as you.
That
Alright,
came from just pure fandom.
fair enough. Alright, and were you thrilled?
I was a little thrilled on this one because I never knew I really thought Guttenberg was gonna die. It really didn't feel like he was gonna get a happy ending on this one.
In terms of, like, me being anxious for him, constant. He's constantly making bad decisions. And so, yes, you are on the edge of your seat begging him to stop fucking up. Please stop doing this. It, he is gone girling himself, for God's sake.
Like, Mr. fucking Bean would have handled this
Yes,
situation basically the same.
and it does have some Mr. Bean-esque qualities. As I said, like it does become a comedy of errors a couple times where it's just I started to laugh at the number of things that were going wrong. So, uh
Mr. Bean would have gotten pulled out of his murder clothes and put into a ballet costume because the stagehands think that you have to change his clothes and get him out, and now he's in the ballet dancing. That's
that
the
is
only
true.
difference in the 2 movies.
The only difference, you would also have seen Mr. Bean's cheek.
Oh, duh, duh.
Alright, give me a number then.
2.5.
Okay. think
Actually,
I'm
maybe even 3 because you're right, there was that sense of the whole movie, I'm just like, "Fuck, why are you doing this?
yeah.
Stop."
It's so many times it looks like it's gonna be bad, and then it gets worse. So yeah, I would agree with that. I'd put that at a 3 as well.
Ruining lives, however.
Ruining lives, however.
Hubert, get the fuck out of here. You're not I am not I've got a good career at business.
Uh huh.
I can just try and buy ladies gin and tonics, and if you buy 100 of them, maybe 1 will bite.
Garrett, you're a virgin in this scenario. Keep that in mind. And
I know.
your boss's wife wants you to come home or wants to go home with you. And she's French and very pretty. Are you sure you're gonna
Fuck,
just
you're
turn it
right.
down? You're gonna turn
You're right.
that down? Sh-
I'm a dumb man. And she's like, "I'll even drive. I'll drive. I will meet you there.
Mm,
I don't you don't have to go anywhere.
no,
You
she
just
wants to have
it,
her own ride home at the end of the night.
and would I have woohooed in the street? Fuck yes. Garrett, Garrett, Garrett.
Garrett, is that what you did after the first time you had sex?
No, I think there was a lot more shame. I did it after the second time.
Oh, okay. The second time you went and clapped for yourself out in the
Yeah, where it's
street.
like, "You didn't come so fast. That was better."
Well, and you didn't also have the buildup of waiting until you were an established businessman in your 30s. So he had a lot more buildup to celebrate
Yeah.
the release of.
Mhm.
Um
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, you're doing it? Yeah, of course you are.
Mm. Kit,
I, on the other hand, would not ruin my life for her.
get the you just sit here and convince me. Well, I guess you're not a dumb man.
I'm not a dumb man. That's the difference between you and me.
You're just getting free drinks thrown at you in a bar, and you're like, "I
Yes,
don't
I
want all
am.
gin and fucking tonics."
Stop giving me G and T's. I don't even like them. I think tonic's too bitter. Make it a cranberry juice or some shit. Yeah, no, I would not. I would be way too nervous to fuck my boss's wife, for sure.
Have you ever had a boss that their significant other is somebody that you would have wanted to end up with?
Not that I've ever known. Like, I haven't met enough bosses' wives for that to really be a problem.
One of my
No,
one of my bosses was fucking Mrs. Fields.
like the actual
The
Mrs. Field.
actual Mrs. Fields.
And you wanted to do the nasty. You wanted to put some cookies in her oven.
Get and get a crack at that cookie empire. Get a crack at that cookie empire. Here's the thing, you know this about me. I love an oatmeal raisin. And if
Mm-hmm.
I get a little oatmeal raisin with the thing,
That's a pretty good incentive.
that job wasn't very good either, so I didn't have a lot to lose.
That's true. You weren't a fancy capital B businessman.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say no to her. Would I ruin my life if I am boss's wife? Would I sleep with Steve Guttenberg? That's the other question. Garrett, if your boss's wife situation, your husband's employee wants to have sex,
It seemed like she was just kinda horny and wanted to. And it seemed like there weren't a lot of strings attached. It was gonna be quick and easy until you saw a crime.
until you accidentally saw a crime.
I don't know, he looked too eager. It would just be like fucking a golden retriever.
Well, lots of girls are into golden retriever energy. That's a common thing that people like in a partner.
I'm a cat person.
Yeah, of course you are. Yeah, that's why you're
That's why
with
I'm like,
Mia.
well, as I think about like Hubert, I'm like, actually, she's kind of mean. Like, she's like a little my type.
A little bit,
You
yeah.
got to work for her affection.
Sometimes it's nice to have someone who's eager to please. Then they're eager to please, if you know
No,
what I
I wouldn't
mean.
ruin my life for the goot. I
I would
like
not
the goot.
either. I like him fine, but yeah, I probably wouldn't ruin my life for him either.
Mrs. Crowley, on the other hand, yeah, fuck yeah. Mrs. Crowley, me and you are going on dates after we're done with this murder trial.
Well, the thing is, being with her doesn't ruin your life. It actually saves you from going to jail. Like being with her is the right decision.
If anything, she got Hubert some awkward conversations with her husband, really.
Yeah,
Ruined her life more than. All right, well,
absolutely. Yep,
there's the movie.
that's the movie. Would you recommend it to folks?
I'd say this one was fine. Like, I wouldn't say it was the best. I would say this one's kind of probably in the middle somewhere, but a fun one.
Mhm. Yeah, I would agree with
It's
that.
there it's pretty goofy. Like, I had fun laughing at stuff. There was enough goofy shit, and, like, when I established him as a virgin within 5 minutes of the movie being on, it changed the whole movie for me where
I feel
I
I feel like I need to watch it again now with your canon
virgin filter.
included to see if it makes me feel any differently about it. But yes, I also enjoyed it. It's like medium good. Go have fun.
If you like the goot, this movie's for you. If you're a kid who grew up and you wanna see goot cheeks,
This is
there's other
fun.
goot cheeks out there that I don't remember, but they are certainly here. And
Absolutely.
make your state pay for it if you have access to Canopy free through your library,
If
or it's
not,
just on
it's
freebie.
yeah. Just check Amazon Prime. You know.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. At Erotic Thriller Club on Instagram, Erotic Thriller Club at gmail.com. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, get.
Leave a like, leave a subscription, a comment. We love to see what people have to say. If you have suggestions, if you agree or disagree with Garrett's bold theory about the Goot's virginity, let us know.
Yeah, if you do think the Goot has had sex before, maybe write a little fanfic for us and tell us who, how
Mm,
many times, what is Goot's body number. I
hmm
don't know. Maybe we looked at him completely different.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. We will be back next time. Thank you for listening. We love you. Wet you snails. We want to shake you naked and eat you alive.